PantheonAI presents Nvidia hits $3 trillion, GM disrupts EVs, Citi reshapes finance, stock market rally, and tech boom. Welcome back to the PAI Morning Briefing.
Good morning, everyone. So glad you're joining us today.
It is Monday, May 13th, 2025. Hope you've got your coffee ready, because we've got a lot to unpack this morning.
Absolutely. We're diving deep into the market landscape today. Lots of movement across major indexes, digital assets, and some really interesting headline news.
Big stories in tech, auto, and finance. Let's just jump right in with a quick market overview, shall we?
Sounds good. Kicking things off, the S&P 500 is showing a nice modest upward swing. It's trading right around 5,891.229, up about 0.633%.
Okay, so S&P's looking pretty good. How about the Dow?
The Dow Jones Industrial Average isn't quite as bright today. It's trading at roughly 42,249.55, down slightly, about negative 0.606%.
A little dip there. But the Nasdaq Composite, I hear that's having a strong day?
Oh, the Nasdaq is definitely rallying. Robust gains there. It's sitting close to 18,996.603, up a solid 1.254%.
Wow, over 1.25% is a good move for the Nasdaq. What about the smaller caps?
The Russell 2000, representing those smaller companies, is a bit more muted. Around 2,105.029, managed a small climb though, about 0.165%.
So, kind of a mixed bag across the traditional indexes, but Nasdaq leading the charge.
Exactly. Now let's shift gears slightly and look at the digital currency space.
Ah, the crypto world. Always something happening there.
It is. Bitcoin is standing strong, trading near 103,586.226, with a gain of about 0.755%.
Over 103,000 for Bitcoin. Still holding those high levels.
Definitely, and Ethereum isn't far behind. It's trading around 2,563.9172, with a healthier gain actually, about 2.717%.
Okay, Ethereum showing some good strength today. It really does highlight how these traditional equities and digital currencies kind of march to their own drum, doesn't it?
It really does. It's this blend of investor sentiment, global factors, and tech advancements driving them.
All right, numbers covered. Let's dive into some of the broader market trends we're seeing today.
One key trend is definitely the resilience of the technology sector. Innovation is a huge part of it, but also potential regulatory moves.
And the big tech headline this morning, Nvidia, right?
Oh, absolutely. Nvidia has vaulted back into that exclusive club. Market cap north of $3 trillion. $3
trillion? That's just mind-boggling numbers.
It really is. And the narrative around Nvidia is fascinating. The Trump administration, yes, that name from the past, seems to be working on a deal to give Saudi Arabia access to advanced chips.
Wait, Saudi Arabia? And it's not just Nvidia, but AMD chips too?
That's what the reports are buzzing about. It's really fueling discussions about international tech supply chains and these strategic geopolitical alliances. It's a reminder that the global chessboard is constantly in play.
That's a really good point. It's not just about earnings reports, it's about global strategy.
Exactly. And speaking of titanic shifts, let's look at the automotive industry.
GM, General Motors.
Yes, GM is unveiling what they're calling, quote, groundbreaking technology in EV batteries.
Groundbreaking? Tell me more.
Reports suggest these new battery designs are more cost-effective, lighter, and more efficient. And they're using more readily available, less expensive minerals.
Okay, cost-effective and using common minerals. That sounds like a big deal for scaling EVs.
It really could be. GM is clearly trying to lead the pack as the EV market heats up. With so many automakers racing on battery tech, this move could definitely shape the next phase of innovation.
It's a classic example of a legacy industry reinventing itself, isn't it? Staying ahead in this fast-changing tech landscape.
Absolutely. Now let's pivot to a notable shakeup in the financial sector.
Citi, right? One of the banking giants.
That's the one. Citi has decided to sell off its wealth alternatives advisory unit to iCapital.
Interesting. What does that signal?
It's caught a lot of attention. It really represents a trend of consolidation and specialization within financial services. Seems like these large, diversified banks are focusing more on their core competencies, shedding peripheral businesses to streamline and boost profitability.
Focusing on what they do best. Makes sense in a competitive environment.
Right. Now, beyond these specific company stories, there are also developments speaking to overall investor sentiment.
Like a rebound, maybe.
Exactly. We're starting to see signs of a rebound, or at least a real persevering spirit among investors.
I've heard buzz about the Dow and S&P clawing their way back.
They are. After suffering losses earlier this year, they're really working their way back into positive territory. Some are even calling it an extremely rare comeback victory.
A comeback victory. That's a strong phrase. But it is reassuring to see that resilience, isn't it? Even in turbulent times, the markets have strength.
It really is, and it sometimes happens in ways that defy traditional expectations.
Another headline I saw echoed that sentiment, just saying the stock market is bouncing back.
Yes! And that's a key message. Beyond the daily numbers, it's a reminder that amidst fluctuations, there's opportunity for investors to reset, reassess, and capitalize on emerging trends.
So every dip isn't just alarming. It could be a strategic move for long-term gains if you approach it right.
Precisely. Now that we've set the stage, let's step back and do a comprehensive review of these key stories. Like a financial buffet, as they say.
A financial buffet. I like that analogy.
First course, Nvidia. Repeated news, but powerfully resonant. A company that's redefined graphics and AI, now in the $3 trillion club.
And the U.S. government's deliberations with Saudi Arabia on that chip deal. It's not just economic, right?
Not at all. It's a geopolitical maneuver with huge implications for global tech standards and supply chain resilience. A potential new era of U.S. Saudi tech cooperation.
So, for investors, it means thinking about how these international alliances and trade agreements could dictate the pace of innovation and earnings for tech giants.
Exactly. Next course, GM's EV battery technology. In a market driven by innovation, this, quote, groundbreaking tech could change the game.
Lower costs and more common minerals sounds like it could really help expand the appeal of EVs.
It could. And that strategy might have a domino effect, pushing competitors and altering investment strategies in auto stocks. It shows disruption isn't just in Silicon Valley.
Traditional manufacturing giants are definitely adapting.
They are. Third course, Citi selling its wealth alternatives advisory unit to iCapital. On the surface, routine, but it's emblematic of a broader trend.
Institutions focusing on what they do best. Streamlining operations.
Right. Reducing complexity, enhancing profit margins. For investors, it could signal a renewed emphasis on core banking and accelerating digital transformation.
So, specialization over broad diversification might be the new mantra for financial giants.
That seems to be the signal. Let's talk about the indexes again for a moment. That narrative of the Dow and S&P clawing back losses, that's encouraging.
Especially after dealing with so many macroeconomic challenges this year, like inflation and uncertainties.
Their resilience is notable. Maybe it's a shift in focus from short-term volatility to longer-term value creation. Perhaps renewed investor confidence and strong earnings in key sectors are laying the groundwork for a rebound.
A rebound that could surprise even seasoned traders. And that upbeat message about the market bouncing back, it's a timely reminder about portfolio adjustments.
Absolutely. Adjustments made during turmoil can lead to smarter, more resilient strategies. It makes you wonder, are calm, collected investors better positioned to seize opportunities?
That's definitely a conversation worth having, especially in a market this dynamic and, well, unpredictable.
Very true. Now let's tie all these threads together with a detailed sector analysis.
Starting with technology, where innovation clearly isn't slowing down.
Not at all. Nvidia hitting $3 trillion, the U.S. government's strategic chip moves. The landscape is in flux. It's not just about valuations. It's fundamental shifts in how tech integrates with global supply chains and regulation.
And with AI and machine learning constantly opening new possibilities, tech stocks remain core for investors looking for future innovation dividends.
Right. Now, energy. Not as headline-grabbing today, but the transformation is ongoing.
Governments pushing for renewables, climate change concerns. Energy companies are under pressure to adapt.
Exactly. There are murmurs about traditional players pivoting to sustainable models, even partnering with tech for smarter grids. While not today's main headlines, it's a crucial backdrop.
Investors in energy need to watch policies and the increasing role of innovation in that sector.
Definitely. Turning to finance, Citi's move speaks volumes about broader shifts.
Aiming to be leaner and more agile, likely seeing more such moves.
Yes, and larger banks are embracing digital transformation, fintech collaborations are becoming the norm. This could influence the whole market structure as traditional banks either innovate or face obsolescence.
So keeping a careful eye on finance is key, as shifts there can ripple across asset classes.
Absolutely. And internationally, the implications are significant. The U.S. potential moves with Saudi Arabia aren't just U.S. business, they're global.
Showing how regional partnerships have worldwide impacts, especially in tech and auto.
Precisely. Global markets are interwoven. When Nvidia makes headlines, it sends shockwaves everywhere. As finance and auto evolve, those changes aren't isolated either. It's an interconnected global trend.
Which reinforces the importance of diversification, right? In today's hyper-connected world, it's not just a buffer, it's a gateway to opportunity.
Good point. Let's not forget the human element either. Investor sentiment and market psychology.
Oh, definitely. Economic narratives evolve based on perceptions. The resilience we're seeing in the indexes, the signs of revival, it suggests optimism might be slowly seeping back in.
Like a renaissance in confidence. A reminder that markets aren't just numbers. They're human decisions, emotions, and a dash of unpredictability.
And honestly, if it weren't for that unpredictability, trading would probably be as dull as watching paint dry, wouldn't it?
Ha! You're probably right. Whether it's the Nasdaq's steady rhythm or the Dow's dramatic rebound, there's always something keeping you on your toes. That unpredictability is what makes it both a challenge and an adventure.
Well said. Let's try to weave these threads together into some thought-provoking takeaways.
Okay. First, we're seeing boundaries blurring between tech, auto, and finance. Nvidia's potential deal with Saudi Arabia sounds like a thriller, but the implications are real and far-reaching. Global collaboration and competition are dictating future innovations.
Right. Second, the automotive sector, with GM's battery tech, shows old industries can totally reinvent themselves. Who'd predict a traditional automaker leading in next-gen energy storage?
It's fascinating. And third, finance's move towards consolidation, like Citi's divestiture, highlights that sometimes less is more, shedding non-core assets to be leaner, quicker, better prepared for a digital future.
Good points. Looking ahead, the global implications are clear. Ripple effects from today's stories will influence international markets.
Definitely. Investors everywhere are watching. Trade policies, supply chains, digital transformation, it's all happening fast. The world's interconnectedness makes diversification even more crucial.
Absolutely. Now, some expert insights and predictions as we start to wrap up.
As someone who's navigated many cycles, I'm always fascinated by innovation, psychology, and macro trends. In tech, Nvidia and those strategic cross-border deals point to continued growth and bolstered confidence,
Potentially leading to even bigger leaps in AI capabilities across industries.
Exactly. In auto, GM's battery tech is a pivotal moment. If it scales, we could see a surge in EV adoption and a reconfiguration of the global supply chain.
It makes you ask, which companies are truly poised to lead in this pivot to renewables and smarter tech?
Precisely. And how do you balance your portfolio to capture that upside while managing the risks of rapid change? Not simple questions, but critical ones.
And in finance, the consolidation and digital transformation trends seem set to accelerate. Banks blending traditional strengths with fintech innovations are the ones to watch.
Yes, they could set new benchmarks for profitability. A little disruption can be good, as long as it comes with stronger fundamentals.
One can't help but wonder how global events, regulatory changes, or geopolitics will alter things. Keeping an eye on both domestic and international relations is imperative.
The landscape is a tapestry of intertwined stories, each with cascading impacts. Adaptability is key. Whether you're in tech, energy, finance, or crypto, staying flexible and informed is your best defense.
Couldn't agree more. Now, let's add a little market banter and some questions for our listeners.
Love it. Have you noticed how the resilience of the major indexes seems to mirror your own approach to weathering unexpected dips?
That's a great question. And what do you think about Nvidia's bold play in this global chess game of chip technology and geopolitical strategy.
Yeah, and in the EV world, how does GM's new battery tech influence your perception of future automotive investments?
These kinds of questions really enrich the dialogue and push us all to look deeper than just the numbers.
They really do. It reminds us that the market is just as much about psychology and human ingenuity as it is about cold, hard data.
There's a certain charm in knowing that every fluctuation, every strategic move, every announcement is a chapter in this larger narrative, where every investor and analyst has a role to play.
Beautifully put. So let's quickly recap the key takeaways from today's briefing.
Okay, first, our market overview showed contrasts. S&P and Nasdaq up, Dow slightly down, digital currencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum on their own paths.
Second, major trends like tech's global intersections are driving excitement, especially with Nvidia's ascendancy and international implications.
Third, sector stories like GM's battery tech and Citi's divestiture give us tangible examples of legacy industries reinventing themselves.
And finally, global market implications remind us that regional shifts and innovations send ripples far beyond, reinforcing the need to stay informed and adaptable.
Absolutely. Before we sign off, a huge shout out to PantheonAI, your information co-pilot.
Here at PantheonAI, we're committed to giving you not just the data, but the insight to navigate these complex financial landscapes.
Whether you're a seasoned veteran or just starting out, remember that every market day is a chance to learn, adapt, and most importantly, ask questions.
Definitely. And to leave you with a few more, what upcoming tech or policy shift do you think will have the biggest impact globally soon?
Good one. How do you plan to adjust your strategies based on trends in EVs and digital currencies?
And in this era of constant change, what steps are you taking to ensure your portfolio not only survives but thrives in volatility?
Fantastic questions to ponder. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We hope you found it engaging and insightful.
Learning shouldn't feel like a full-time job. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of the PAI Morning Briefing.
And always remember, you can ask questions to our AI Copilot right here at Pantheon AI. Stay curious, stay informed, and have a fantastic day ahead.
See you next time. Pantheon AI, your information Copilot.
Because learning shouldn't feel like a full-time job. Take care and see you next time.